Hi, my name is Whitney Henson for the Office of Water Prediction, and I'll be presenting a walkthrough of the 2018 Spring Flood Outlook Story Map Journal. This Story Map Journal is a dynamic web mapping application portraying flood risk for the 2018 spring season in the continental United States. The assessment presents an overview of the analysis of flood risk for spring 2018, which integrates late summer and fall precipitation, frost depth, soil saturation levels, stream flow, snowpack, temperature, and snowmelt. This risk information is based on NOAA's Ensemble Streamflow Prediction Forecast, which are generated for thousands of river and stream forecast locations across the country depicting 3-month risk of minor, moderate, and major river flooding. This spring flood outlook is reflective of forecast conditions from March to May 2018. The sections below quantify river flood risk based on the river location having a 50% or more likelihood of exceeding minor, moderate, or major flood levels. The National Weather Service, in coordination with local officials, defines flood levels for each of its river forecast locations based on the impact over a given area. As seen by the map, this year's seasonal forecast does not project major flooding for the 2018 spring season. This Story Map Journal provides an in-depth narrative organized into sections and a scrolling side panel. The beauty of this application is that each section presents a new extent of a map, image, video, or piece of web content, with associated narrative text in a side panel. As we scroll through the following sections, you'll notice the map moves with me and zooms into a particular location that I am talking about. Location names throughout the narrative have been hyperlinked, so clicking automatically zooms into that particular location. These sections have been organized by flood risk, starting with the higher flood category, as well as by river basin. So let's dive in. Heavy rainfall mid-February through early March brought moderate to major flooding across much of the middle to lower Mississippi and Ohio River basins, with record flooding observed in the Great Lakes drainages in northeast Illinois, northern Indiana, and southwest Michigan. Significant flooding continues in the middle to lower Mississippi Valley, with major flooding currently observed or forecast at numerous locations from Arkansas to Louisiana. As a result, it is expected that additional rivers in the lower Mississippi Basin are likely to exceed moderate flood levels in the spring season. Minor to moderate flooding is expected to redevelop in the Ohio River Valley and on the Cumberland and Tennessee rivers this spring. Minor to moderate and even some major flooding was experienced across the region in February and March when parts of Cincinnati reached historical flood levels, along with parts of the lower Ohio River Basin. Minor to moderate flooding is expected on the lower half of the main stem Ohio River and in the Wabash, Little Wabash, White, and Maumee basins through Illinois and Indiana. There's also a risk of exceeding moderate flooding in the Illinois River Basin. The Illinois River and its tributaries crested above moderate flooding in February, with record flooding observed in parts of northwest Indiana and southwest Michigan due to a combination of heavy rainfall and snowmelt during the next few months. Parts of the lower Missouri Basin may also experience moderate flooding this spring season. This area, like most of the region, observed minor to moderate flooding from heavy rainfall and thunderstorms in late February. Convective thunderstorms are no stranger to this region in the springtime, and hence drive much of its associated flooding. Moving on to the next section, minor flooding is expected in several basins across the United States. Runoff from a much above normal snowpack in the northern Rockies may lead to rivers exceeding minor flooding on tributaries of the Columbia River, including the Snake and Pandorial basins, as well as drainages in the upper Missouri River Basin, including the Bighorn River pictured here. Though snowpack is generally shallow, there is an increased possibility of minor flooding across much of the upper Mississippi River Valley, where frozen ground could cause increased runoff rates from heavy rains typical of the spring season. Minor flooding is also anticipated along and in the drainages of the Red River of the North, pictured here. Both pictures were taken by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration officers, or NOAA Corps officers, from airborne snow survey airplanes. In the southeast U.S., Possible heavy rainfall could also be expected to cause rivers to exceed minor flooding in parts of the Florida Panhandle, northern Alabama, and Georgia. Additionally, heavy rainfall, or the combination of heavy rainfall and the rapid melt of the heavy snowfall from the recent nor'easters, could also lead to isolated moderate flooding in basins across the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast. Thank you for watching. The information presented in this story map, as well as additional information regarding areas of low flow risk, water supply, Alaska flood potential, and hypoxia outlook, is discussed in the 2018 National Hydrologic Assessment, hyperlinked here in the bottom of the section. To be prepared, every American should know their flood risk and what to do before, during, and after a flood event. This information is available at www.ready.gov/floods. To keep up to date with your current flood risk, visit weather.gov for the latest official watches and warnings. For detailed hydrologic conditions and forecasts, go to water.weather.gov.